There's a lot of stuff that just gets me in my feels, man. So,
you're killing me.
Ladies and gentlemen, dogs, and please pull up a chair and sit on your knees, for we have a story to tell you that we are still learning about. Welcome to Talk the Walk. This Christmas, my name is Henry Moses.
I'm Jared Moreland.
I'm Jenny Tucker.
And I am Gabriel Moses, and we are super happy to be here, and thank you for joining us, wherever you might be.
On this Christmas
Week.
It's not day.
Do you hear what
I mean, I think it's a strong Christmas, but you can call it a weak Christmas if you want to.
That was good. Ba-da-boom.
Ba-dum-bum. We got one of those buttons, but I'm going to have to label them. I don't remember which one it is. I'm going to guess that it's this one. Oh.
Wah, wah, wah.
Oh. Did you know it was that one?
Yeah.
What about this one? There it is. That was close. There we go.
There, boom.
We're back in the game. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas week. We hope you're having a wonderful week. How about you guys? Everybody got your gifts done, shopping done?
Yes.
Excited for the season? This warm, unhappily warm Christmas season? It's nonsense.
It hasn't been warm.
Oh, it's been so warm.
It was 74 yesterday.
Well, that happened.
One day.
Yeah,
Look at
one day.
Look at no. Look at the next. Look, we haven't. I had a fly in my house.
That always happens. Why do people act like this doesn't happen?
Look,
Because we don't like the fly.
But it happens every year.
today high of 58. No, it doesn't happen.
Hey, you're
Not in
saying
December.
stuff that's not 100% accurate, by the way.
I know it's not accurate for them, but I'm just saying everybody knows we record a
Sunday
little
it's
bit
going to
early.
be 48.
48.
Okay, but yeah, name all the rest of it.
Jenny.
Thursday, 55.
Yeah, Jenny's picking and choosing. How about this?
right.
Let's go. Saturday 68, Sunday 48. Yay, that's a little more like it. Monday 63, Tuesday 65, Wednesday 71, Thursday 55. Yay.
I hope Christmas
Friday
Day is
64,
85.
Saturday 70, Sunday 63. Like, come
Okay.
on, that's barely fall.
People are going to be, that this happens every
It does.
Yeah,
year.
this is not, guys, this is not your, I'm just saying, the season is warm.
Henry,
I don't like it. I want snow.
Look at this.
I want at least some snowflakes. And if it doesn't get under freezing, it's not going to happen. Or if we don't get moisture.
I don't think
We've
it's
had
Christ-like if it's cold and snowy.
I don't think you're Christ-like.
That's enough.
I mean,
of
I
that,
just think
Jared.
it's funny that it
The
doesn't.
Bible says, weep with those who weep, Jared.
When's the last time it snowed in December
Be
in Israel?
Christ-like.
It's been a while.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Be
Israel?
Christ-like.
He's just making us closer to him by giving us all this heat.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just kind of crazy that it was never snowy and cold and blustery when Jesus was born.
Were you there?
Yes, because he died for me.
There's a lot in the Bible about how things were back then.
Yeah, I'm just
There
saying.
was zero about there being any
gotta-
snow.
You got to think about this, too, though. While the winter is not what you wanted, this summer wasn't what it usually is either, though. How often did it even break 100?
I'm
It was
just
so
saying.
much cooler.
Hunter
This
needs-
summer was amazing.
Right, which is what everybody was saying. It's going to be a cool, fun.
They always say that. They're never
winter.
right. They're never right.
What
And
is
it's
that,
not.
almanac?
The Farmer's Almanac.
Farmer's
I don't think
Almanac.
it's off. I don't know. But I don't think people are looking at that when they say we're going to have a cold, we've had a nice mild summer. We're going to have a cold winter. I think they're just old wives.
Cold,
Yes.
snowy winter.
I've only referenced the almanac, the Farmer's Almanac, twice in my life. Once being 2 years ago, and it's spot on. Like it said,
Yeah,
this would
I
be
think
the
it's on.
appropriate planting season. It gave a date range a week of, and that was the week the mesquites bloomed. It was like phenomenal how
Wow.
close and accurate it was.
I think it's pretty accurate. I buy them and then I don't ever even hardly
Reference
crack
it.
them.
I think
open.
they're going to quit printing them because nobody buys them
All right, y'all.
except Jenny.
Really? They're gonna start. That makes me want to start buying them because it's nostalgic. Mm-hmm. But man, y'all, so I got to tell you a story.
Okay.
So I had my Dish Network, and I just, everybody nickel and dimes you to death nowadays. They find a way, subscribe to this, subscribe to that. Oh, if you want this extra channel, you got to pay this extra amount, blah, 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 blah. So, I really enjoy being a single person. I like to have usually like a cooking channel on, and there's either cook or one other one. I can't remember what the other one is. And so I'll have one of those playing while I'm just walking around doing whatever. Well, one day I go and the cook channel is gone last week. So I'm like, what's going on with the cook? So I thought, it'll come back. The next day it's not back. I'm like, I'm calling Dish, find out what's going on here. So I call Dish and I talk to this old boy that has an Indian accent, is not from here, but speaks pretty good English. But you know how it is. Like, man, I want to talk to one of my people. Like, I'm getting pawned off here. So I'm trying not to be frustrated about that. But I'm also thinking, keep your cool, keep your witness, no matter what. And so I'm like, hey, but I tell him, I say, hey, oh yeah, way better. But I tell this guy, I'm like, hey man, this is the deal. My channel's gone. And he tells me that was a promotional channel. I said, then why have I been watching it the whole time I've had Dish and have recorded plenty of shows on it to watch later and blah, blah, blah. He goes, I don't know, but it was a promotional channel. But for only $6 more, I can get you hooked up. I said, no. Here's the deal. I said, I'm tired of businesses not being loyal. The longer you're with them, the less they care about you. They only care about the new clients.
Preach.
And so I said, you're going to get me that channel.
Preach.
And not raise the price at all, or you're going to send me to your disconnect department. Y'all can come get your dish. And I said, there's too many other people that'll give me deals. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, you can tell he's full on like, well, sure, I can get that channel. He just keeps going to that. I'm
for
like,
$6
for the same price. No, I can't do that. It was a promotional. No, it wasn't. And so we go back and forth. Finally, I'm like, let's get it disconnected.
Bye, bro.
So he sends me to the disconnect department, and now that's in the U.S.
They've got
they get
options.
Yeah, so they get me to New Jersey, and this young lady gets on the phone, and her name is Sheila, and I'm like, Sheila, how you doing? And she says, I'm good. How you doing? I said, I'm not good. I said, I'm good, but not where it pertains to this. And so I go through the same spill with her, and she's like, yeah, if you hate it that much, I can understand you wanting to disconnect. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. Let's get this thing disconnected. And she's like, is there something I can do? I'm like, I give her the same thing. Yeah. Give me the channel and leave me with the same services I have and leave my bill alone. And so she's like, and I said, and then if you can upgrade my receiver, because it's old and this and that. And so she's like, she works on it. So I keep on, I'm trying to not be frustrated, remember, and to find a way to, I'm trying to, any new person I come into contact with, I'm always looking for a way to share the gospel. And so didn't really find one with the other guy because I wasn't on the phone with him long enough, but I kept on, mentioning God and mentioning this and that a time or two, just trying to find a way to throw the subject in there. And so we go through. She's awesome. Sheila's awesome. And she finds a way to lower my bill and get me the channel and get me updated and all this stuff. And just gets me taken care of. And so I'm like, Sheila, you're so awesome. So we're best friends at this point. So she has to read this long disclaimer under the new, subscription. And so she reads this long. I mean, it probably took her like 5 minutes to read this thing. Doesn't miss a beat, goes through, reads the whole thing. So I'm like, okay, here's a way. So I said, Sheila, I said at my church, in our different Bible studies or Sunday school, we have to read out of the Bible in front of everybody. And I said, man, sometimes, because I do it, I feel you should participate. And so I'll read, and I told her, I said, sometimes when it's a long one, I'm nervous. I have glasses on, I'm scared the lighting's not quite right, and I'm going to miss a beat, or they're going to want me to say what I think about it afterwards or whatever. And so I'm just kind of telling her all this, but I said, Sheila, you'd be amazing at it because you didn't miss a beat reading that whole 5-minute long dissertation that you just read. And she laughed, and then she kind of got quiet, and she goes, I just started reading my Bible. And I'm like, yes,
that's
awesome. Here we go. And so she goes, I just started in Genesis. I just feel like I should. And keep in mind, she's in New Jersey. Like, we know New Jersey is not very Christian.
Right. Like drive calls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, I don't know where to read. So I just started reading. I said, well, you know what, Sheila? I said, that makes sense. And chronologically, or what seems like chronological, all that. Like, start at the beginning and work your way through. She said, yeah, but it is kind of hard, but I just know I should. I just know I should read. And so I'm like, okay. So I start talking to her about the book of John and Proverbs and James, and kind of going through different places to read, to start in the Bible, and then consistency and talking about that and why it's important. And we end up talking for, outside of all the business side of things, for about 30 minutes about the Bible and about God and how he works in our lives and the importance of having relationship with him. And she's asking questions and telling me her thoughts, and like, she doesn't care. She just talks and talks and talks. Wow. And we end up having this just discussion about God, just this fellowship and this opportunity to, and I told her, you can hit me up on Facebook if you ever have questions. But she told me, she said, my uncle's been hounding me for years. She said, he's a Baptist pastor. I said, and she goes, but he's so hard about it. And I said, well, Sheila, he's only so hard about it because he loves you so much. Mm-hmm. And she goes, yeah, that's true. I don't really think about that, but that is true.
It is.
I said, when it's hard, when it's your family member and you're scared to death for them, and you're just panicked. You're trying to think of anything you can to get them to seek God. And so, but in the end of it, she was like, well, Henry Moses is an easy name to remember. If I have questions, I'll hit you up. And
nice.
That's incredible. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there thinking it's easy, not easy. When you plant a seed in somebody's life that you see regularly, like a waiter or waitress, you intentionally go back to just kind of check on them. But you deposit that seed and then you just really, truly give it to God. Like, there's nothing else you can do after that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you'll remember to pray for Sheila at times. But you'll always wonder, I wonder whatever happened with Sheila and the Bible.
Well, Paul said in 1 Corinthians, I planted and Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. And I just lean on that in witnessing, because you're right. You want to see the fruit. And you know what? I don't know. I have a feeling that our paths might cross again at some point. But if it doesn't, like, who knows? If we can just make our paths can cross in heaven, and see her there, and we can laugh and talk about that conversation that we had.
Well, I love the segue you used. You didn't like force Christ down her throat. You just said, man, we read the Bible and you'd be great at it.
Yeah.
And the fact that turned into a segue to, I just started reading my Bible. It's like, that was all.
There was this little bit of silence. Like, she was thinking about whether to say it. And then she just said it just like that.
Well,
I just started reading my Bible. So cute.
Talk about a religious subject over this business.
Probably
call,
that's true.
On a call that's being recorded for quality assurance.
Right.
Exactly.
She might have wondered.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So she probably had a pause.
Or my boss is going to use this for a training video, and be like,
she
what
took
was
a
happening?
risk.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's good for her because of the scripture that says, if you deny me before man, I will deny you
before my Father in heaven.
Before my Father in heaven.
Dang, Skippy.
But if you acknowledge me, like she did, she had to have thought about that for a second and thought, yes, I acknowledge God.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yes, I'm going to talk about this because it's in my heart and I want to talk about God.
And she said she just started reading, and just because she thought she should. I'm like, how interesting of a scenario is that?
She said, I know I should. I know I should. Yeah. Like, that's in us. And I think that's the important thing to remember. And we're going to get into the Christmas discussion here in a second. But for me, I'm trying to be, who was it? I was talking with someone yesterday, and we were talking about the younger generation and how they're just so lost and down these crazy paths and have these crazy beliefs and angry and sad and all the things. And I told them, I was like, I'm coming to realize more than I used to be the whole snowflake thing and make those kind of comments all the time. And I may still with our nephews and nieces, we're just joking around, just razzing them, and they razz back, and it's fun, right? But when you're actually kind of condemning them, we as shepherds and protectors, and it's our job to have not empathy for them, but compassion, to be compassionate on them and to have passion for them, and they're the kid. They're the young person that doesn't have any experience in life. And so trying to strategize and find a way, smiling at them, doing things like that. And so I'm trying, this really is kind of transitioning into the whole idea of the Christmas tree. So let's get into that, because I'm going to talk about some more of
one
this.
other thing in there on that.
Hit me with your best shot.
It's just funny to hear you talk like that. We sound so old. I'm like, I remember hearing older, quote unquote, older people when I was a kid saying this young generation is so shot. It's so bad. It's going straight to hell. All this stuff. And here we are. And I'm like,
they were talking to us.
Yeah, they were.
Gen
now,
X.
Now here is Gen whatever, man. This is, I'm like, here we are in our mid to late 40s and whatnot.
Thanks for that.
And you're welcome. And saying the same stuff. I'm like, this is not new under the sun. And everybody, as you get older, you recognize how bad evil is. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean it's special evil. I don't think it's special evil. I'm like, it's evil. And it does seem extra bad, even to me. I'm not going to say I'm not seeing what you're saying, but I'm like, how funny. That's the same stuff. I've been hearing people say this stuff since I've been alive. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's not special evil. And I do think it does. It requires a certain kind of understanding and compassion to deal with it. And I don't have it. I'm not good at it. I'm like, it's just so bad. But I'm like, I'd like to do a better job. I'd like to do a better job with the youth, with the young. You talking about that's making me go, I want to do a better job. What, Jenny?
I think it's the youth arrogance. That is across all generations.
Yes.
Every generation.
That causes the older generation to be like hard-headed, stubborn, thinks they're right, entitled, all of that. And I do remember being that age. I mean, it's just like it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
48, yes. And I remember really feeling that I knew a lot, and adults did not. And adults were like...
They were overreacting.
And their brains were just a little stupid, Not that they were dumb, but they
were old-fashioned and out of touch.
Exactly, old-fashioned and out of touch. And so I remember what it's like to feel like that.
Now I'm old-fashioned and out of touch.
Well, the saying, the more you learn, the more you understand how little you understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's wisdom, that's maturity, that's what you don't have when you're young. You think you have all this knowledge and this. Then the older you get, hopefully, the more you have far more knowledge than you did as in your teens and 20s and 30s even, and you understand, I really need to do better and understand better in this area and understand better in that area, and you surround yourself with people that kind of help you get there. And
I was sitting with Logan, my oldest boy and oldest of my 3 children, genetic children, and I was trying to dig out of him, what's the matter, son? Because he was kind of down the other day, and he would not tell me what was wrong. I said, why won't you talk to me, man? Why won't you tell me? He goes, you're just going to tell me how wrong I am and how stupid I am. I was like, dadgummit, Gabe. I was like, I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be better at this.
And then you're thinking, please don't say something that makes me think how wrong and stupid you are.
That's right. Yeah. And I said, the truth is, son, I do think your ideas are a little bit not quite
wrong and stupid.
Not quite right, but you're right. I'm not being very smart either. And I'm not being kind to you. I was like, dang it, dude. Be better, man. He just wants to talk to you, but he's not. He is already figuring out, I ain't saying nothing to you, Dad, if you ain't going to take it with a little bit of gentleness.
Yeah.
and give me some grace. I was like, I said, I promise you I'm going to do better. I promise.
You know what's funny?
Please talk to me.
They know what you'll approve and disapprove of already. Yeah. My children are grown.
They do know.
And my oldest and youngest, when they talk to me, it's so funny. When they're telling me something, I'll go, like, I even feel it. Now I know what I do when I'm about to say something that they know what I'm going to say. But I'll open my mouth, lean forward in my chair, and my eyes grow big, and they immediately put their hand out. Especially my oldest, he's 30. Immediately put his hand out.
David knows how
to. He puts his hand out to say no thanks.
Basically, he'll rephrase or whatever. You know, he doesn't want to hit. They do. They know you. They love you. And he said something to me the other day. I was feeling pretty low, and he said, "You know, you get old, and you're like, you start rethinking everything." And he said, "Mom, all you were ever trying to do is make sure we turn into good people."
Thanks, son. Thanks, boy. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you saying that. You know, it really was such a focus on my kids when they were young, and it was so imperfect, but tried with all my heart, you know. And so
good job,
they know that. They do know that even if they're tired of hearing your same old things you always say, they know you love them. Most of them do.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah. The moms, we could talk some more about it. We will talk some more about this but Christmas. Merry Christmas. To everybody.
Merry Christmas.
We're going to do it a little bit. This was Jenny's idea that we kind of do a lighthearted Christmas episode. I like it. And that's my.
Can I have your slinky? I want to play with this.
I want my slinky.
Sorry, continue, brother.
Oh,
this is my Christmas present.
I got it first. That's why he's mad.
I don't think the audience knows what's going on.
We're playing with slinkies.
Yeah, no, we've talked
about it.
Okay.
Playing with slinkies.
So anyway, the girls brought those so that Rachel said it's like helps you to focus more. And, and it actually was very enjoyable. At first I thought, what? And so, but having something to kind of fiddle around with while is kind of relaxing and nice. So it's very pleasant.
Good to know.
But anyway, so kicking off this Christmas stuff, it's going to be a lighthearted. We're going to, tell some, each person's going to have thoughts and approach that they're going to come at this from, but it's just kind of what Christmas is to each and every one of us, outside of, we know the Christmas story. So kind of what it means to each one of us and, maybe some cool stories or experiences and whatnot. And so Jenny, I know you've got a little story that you wanted to kind of take off with, I think. Is that or did you shift on it?
Let me start. I think it's a good idea that I start because there has been, I thought what I wanted to do initially was like read you a story from a Christmas book that I had. And so that was my initial idea. I'm not going to do that. Don't worry. But I really found a lot of comfort. I found a ton of comfort over the holiday season, through Thanksgiving and cooking and all of that. And just listening to calmness of someone read a beautiful story and on a podcast. So I really wanted to do that. And then Henry said, yeah, we could do that. Maybe like combine it with what Christmas means to you. And so here's what I want to put out there. It's going to be a polar opposite of anything y'all are going to say probably. In our family, the holidays are near excruciating. Most of our family begins to kind of take offense. I think we're around each other a lot. There's always somebody that's at somebody else's throat. It tends to get real. Something happens every year between somebody that makes the events a little bit awkward or tumultuous. And this year is no exception. One thing that I've done this year is to say, I will not confront. Our family is, Carrie puts it this way, that we're truth tellers.
Carrie, my wife.
Yes. Gabriel's wife, Carrie, says, you guys are truth tellers is what it is. Y'all don't pretend. You don't pretend you're one way and then under the surface, though, there's all these problems. You're just like truth tellers. And it was a sweet view on our family. Now, truth telling, though, without a little, anesthesia to numb the area you're trying to hit can be painful. And so this has every single season. I'm usually fighting off one thing or another, a lot of emotion. We have a big family, kids, all of that. And what I realized this year, I started out this year excited about the holidays, just like I always have. Even though it was about probably 10 years ago that these things began to happen. A lot of children turmoil and all these things that nobody wants to have in their life. That turmoil anyway, not the kids, but started happening. And I kept thinking every year, I think after I get through the holidays and we're through it, I think, I hope I don't become to where I don't like the holidays someday because of the trauma, basically, to where I'm like, oh no, the holidays are coming, and feel a little PTSD, to use a super strong overused word, acronym.
That could totally happen though.
Right. Exactly.
If you repeat an action over and over again, it will become you.
Right. And it keeps on. And, this year I almost did not put out my, Thanksgiving decorations, kind of fall decorations. And I ended up just I looked out my back window and saw all these beautiful fall trees and reminded myself why I have to. And as I was it was 2 weeks till Thanksgiving, really not enough time to even have them out. As I was putting those out, I polished wood, clean glass, all this stuff. And as I'm doing all that, I'm just talking to the Lord, and it happens without my permission. Like, this gratitude happens. I'm by myself, but this gratitude happens this whole time. And I put it out and I look at everything, and I realize that while I've been putting all these out, I've been giving thanks to the Lord the whole time. It's my altar. It's my altar. Mm-hmm. Same for Christmas. This is why Christmas is this reflection on Jesus and on what Jesus has done. Truly, it's no longer, my children aren't little anymore. That kind of magical thing that was super fun. Mm-hmm. I'm not little, when you're little, it's kind of about the Christmas presents, the tree. And then I went into adulthood very quickly. I was 17 when I was pregnant with my first child. So then it's about my children and seeing their eyes light up. And it's just not about that anymore. I think if it was about that and things were going wrong everywhere, then I would be traumatized I would have that kind of sort of PTSD. But we were talking about growing older and getting closer to Jesus and learning that you're wrong about so many things, and loving him more and knowing he loves you through it. And then thinking that through, that Jesus, God sent himself. He took my place on that cross, and it began with his birth. You can't really think about his birth without thinking about his death, because Mary takes this baby, Mary and Joseph take this baby to this prophetess, and she says immediately, "Yeah, this child will pierce your heart."
That's right. Yeah.
And so, and boy, did it. She had to watch her son. My God. I mean, my gosh.
And it's constantly saying Mary took took note of this, and Mary took note of that. So she was just, from
and
the time,
yes,
heart. Treasured these things within her. So, whenever that lady said that something's buzzing. Y'all hear that? Anyway, that she took that to heart too. Mm-hmm. I mean, these things will pierce your heart, and you got to know from the beginning at some point, because you, and then you think of her losing him, when he's 13 or when he's 12, and having that, and you can imagine what's going through her head in those moments. At what point? When's the point that my heart's going to be pierced? And that, all those kinds of things, and but yeah. I love that. So so your takeaway is?
Mine was just, when I came up with this, I really wanted it to be, it was a couple of weeks ago, and I really wanted it to be light and lovely. And I kept trying to think of a story, but I will tell you, I walk into the office or on the weekend with family, or sometimes even at church, and get a bat to the face. A lot of times multiple bat to the face over the last 2 weeks. And it like goes right along with how these holidays have been going now for like a decade, maybe more, probably more than a decade.
Yeah.
And so, but I still am I'm playing the Christmas music. I mean, y'all should have seen me making my pie shells with a computer right next to me, kind of, a little bit cursing at the, while things were going wrong. I'm like beating this pie shell with trying to make it do what it's supposed to do. I'm out of time. I'm supposed to be at my sister's for Pie Day. And I did learn one thing. Love is not a necessary ingredient to baked goods being good. They were delicious.
Marie's wrong, huh?
Marie's wrong.
Marie doesn't know. She's wrong.
Yes.
She's just an actress.
My point of it is, like, if you're leaning in, if you are, as I've grown older, my heart is with the Lord, with the true meaning of what these holidays are. It's not about the presents or the lights, even though I believe in doing those things. Giving gifts is like the greatest gift that was ever given to the world, Jesus. And that's how you can represent gift giving. I believe in this tree. It is a form of altar that we put up. We think of Jesus. We read our scriptures before. We have scriptures that we read every single year. We all take turns reading. And as my children grow older and get married, they will not be reading that circle with me. And, they have their own stuff that they're going to be doing. And I think about that. And as each one goes off and has their own life, I realized last year, I could even be the last one standing. So Lord, me and you, if it's just me and you left, I'm going to build this altar every year, which is my Christmas decorations. That's what I do. I reflect on it. And so that's kind of where I am, especially this year for Christmas. I'm grateful that gift came and that we can celebrate it, and that somehow my mind still sees it as that, even though sometimes the holidays can be circumstantially pretty awful.
I love how you bring perspective, because everybody's got something. If your question is, Jenny, where are you at this year? Because you just kind of shared a State of the Union of where kind of your heart's at, the size of your family. All three of you share the same sibling, the same struggles and all of that. And it caused me to begin to reflect, because I have, my mom and dad are gone. My grandmother, grandfather are gone. I have an aunt and two cousins alive, and none of them live here. Well, one of them does. I just don't see her very much. But I have this one cousin from Vermont, and super, super, super liberal. I've talked to y'all about her before. And I get excited because she gives me a call, and she's coming to Amarillo for Christmas. And at first she's like, can I stay with y'all for a little bit? And I'm like, at first I'm like, no. But then I'm like, yes, you can. Yeah, you can. You can stay with us for a few nights. And to get excited about that, but something we look forward to. And I would encourage you, Jenny, as you've got older kids and all that, something I cherish and look forward to the most is I go to Angel's family's house, and it's, just all things Christmas. And it's fun for me because I'm married into the family, so I can watch all this stuff. And I'm just enjoying the benefits of being part of this family. And but we come home Christmas Eve night, and Angel had this wonderful idea when my mom was sick and she's in ICU. She wasn't going to live much longer. She used to always read the night before Christmas to David on Christmas Eve every year. And he loved it. And it was it was actually Christmas Eve. And we gathered around her hospital bed, and she read the night before Christmas out of this book that Angel gave her. And it was recording her. And so every year I get to hear my mom's voice. And so every year at Christmas Eve, me, Angel, and David sit on a couch together, and we get to listen to my mom read us the night before Christmas. So thank God that Angel did that. And it just makes you so thankful. And so that's kind of what I look forward to. That's what drives me. Like, man, we're going to do all the presents and all that stuff, but man, I get to hear my mom's voice on Christmas Eve, and I don't hear it again We take the battery out and we preserve it and we pack it away, and it'll be next year. But on Christmas Eve, I get to hear my mom's voice again. And that's so precious because, like in our chill talk, my mom was old school. She was out of touch. She was dumb. All that stuff. Yes. What I would love to be able to spend time with my out of touch, dumb, doesn't know what she's talking about, sense of herself. What I would love to hear that again. So once a year I get to hear her voice. And that's what I look forward to the most every single year.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah. So you
have the best Christmas traditions. You told us about that last year, about you and David, like, writing each other letters from Santa or something.
Oh, yeah. He still gets a Santa gift every year, but we write a letter back and forth. He writes a Dear Santa, but he's writing it to me, and then I answer him back, and I have them all, and he has them all, and it's just...
And he knows, and you know, and you know what's up.
It's, and he still gets a gift from Santa, and it's just our excuse to get him something big that we don't have to wrap. And
so it's a win-win.
Yeah, and Christmas is special because David almost died during Christmas one year, and we got out of the hospital. He was in an oxygen tent, and he was in bad shape. And that song, I'll Be Home for Christmas, man, just wrecks us every year because Christmas Eve around noon, the doctor, doctors are off. They're not even going to make their rounds. And Dr. Hall walks in, and we said, "Hey, Dr. Hall." And he said, "I just got a question for you. Y'all want to go home for Christmas?" And it was just so special that we get to go home and be with our family on Christmas. So there's a lot of stuff that just gets me in my feelings, man. So,
you're killing me.
It's just little things are precious to look forward to and reflect upon. So
that song, "I'll Be Home for Christmas," is like otherworldly to me. It brings like a sadness to me that I can't even bear. Like if I'm by myself, tears will roll.
Yeah.
There's something about it. It's just like from somewhere else. And it's just such an emotional song, and it gives both hope and not hope, like the opposite of hope all at the same time. It's weird. That
it's because
so Christmassy.
I know. It says, "I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams."
What a terrible. I'm like,
yeah.
Golly.
Yeah, I didn't take the whole song into context. Just the statement, "I'll be home for that."
No, it's awesome. Wonderful.
David got to go home on Christmas.
I love it. It's beautiful. I love that.
But it's just somebody expressing their desire to be home and to be
in a deep way.
In a very deep way.
In a very deep way.
Yeah.
And Christmas is special, man. It just doesn't feel like anything else.
Nope.
To me, spring and fall feel like each other.
Well, you tip different.
Right.
When you go to the restaurant this time of year, you tip your waiters different. I mean, you just begin to have this attitude of generosity from a love standpoint. And sometimes it's later in the year when that hits me, and I'm like, man, I'm not feeling it this year. And so when Hank was talking about the weather earlier, like, it's not an indicator for me because of the different memories I have. But I was teasing about the whole Jesus thing, but I've gotten to where I don't like cold weather, so I'd just soon I'd be in the Caribbean. I'd love to be on a cruise during Christmas.
Oh,
just hot weather.
Gosh, dude, no. See, you just squashed everything else you just said.
I know. Sorry.
It was going so well.
I'm just saying.
You know what? You and the cranks, bro. That's what I got to say about that.
Families.
Have you seen the movie Christmas with the Cranks?
No, it sounds dumb.
Okay, go watch that. It's about some.
You'll love it after what you just said.
They need to go on a cruise for Christmas. It's Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis. Hilarious.
Oh, it probably would be hilarious.
But, so you go ahead and watch that and get back to me and talk to me about a cruise on Christmas.
Well, I'm just saying it doesn't really matter the weather, any of that,
snow and all the fun. Yeah, man, but you're right. That's true. It doesn't matter. But Gabe, give me something better than what Jared ended with.
Dude, I'm still emotional from what all I said.
I know.
I don't have. I'm like, but it did make me think of our mom. It makes me think of our mom. Christmas does, because she would play the piano. She'd play all the Christmas songs on the piano.
Yeah, yeah.
And as a little bitty boy,
piano,
that's all I want today is to hear Mom play the piano.
Can she still play?
I think she does a little bit.
A little bit.
little bit.
I mean, a little bit could go a long way, and record that and
Yeah,
have that forever.
For later.
So you put up the decorations around the house and stuff, and so all of the atmosphere was set.
Very Christmassy. Yeah.
It was extremely Christmassy. The magic of the lights on the tree and all the stuff that happens with Christmas, only at Christmas. And then her playing that piano, playing the Christmas songs. I'm like, I will never, for as long as I live, forget the feelings that I had from Mom playing that music. And it was probably like 3 or 4 days ago, because of, in light of this podcast, made me think about, well, you know, what's special to me personally. And it is Mom playing that piano. And I got kind of sad because I was like, how can I replicate that for my kids so they can have it? And I had to just settle on, you cannot. And that was for you. And that's your childhood and it's your memories. And it would be impossible. But they will have their own, and I had to settle on that. But I got kind of sad too, because there's like a magic about Christmas, which brings about either really great deep emotions or really sad deep emotions, or the combination, somehow both. So it's somehow both. Mm-hmm. But it is my favorite time of year, period.
Yeah, me too.
We put a lot of work at our house into the Christmas lights outside. A lot of work. I keep wanting to spend more money that I just don't have. But I just want to put more lights somewhere else somehow, because we live in Bishop Hills. So, you know, for us, it's always going to be there. We have to put the lights out. So there's no, like Jenny, you were saying with, maybe I'm not going to put stuff out this year. Well, at Bishop Hills, there's a tour that drives through. You want to explain
Bishop Hills for anybody that's not from Amarillo?
Do we have to explain every detail?
Yes.
Well, I know the way you're talking about it, because it's Bishop Hills. Like.
All right, fine. So yes, Bishop Hills, for wherever you may be, is a place where there's a route that everybody drives through Bishop Hills. It's one road in, one road out, and there's a route that the cars follow each other all the way through, and they see all the lights that people put up, or they don't get to see the lights that people don't put up. So it's kind of a magical place. It's not flat. It's up, it's down, it's curvy and stuff. And it's just kind of
all the way since we were children. It's been a thing.
40, 50 years.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so Gabriel was always carried in a car as a child to Bishop Hills. Right. Every year we were carried in a car to Bishop Hills to go through it. And so your kids, their memories will be living in there. That village. It's a little village.
It is a little village.
They make a big deal out of it.
You know what would be the best thing to look at the lights in Bishop Hills today? An old station wagon.
Yeah.
And you get to sit in the back where you face the other direction.
Yeah.
So that would be the best seat in the house, to sit in the back and just be able to watch everything.
Yeah. So what I do, I put all the kids, they get their blankets and they get in the bed of my truck. And Carrie and I ride up front in the cab, and the kids have their blankets and hot chocolate, and we roll through Bishop Hills with all the other people that are there checking out the lights.
How fun.
Yeah. And that is the way to do it. Just slow going, look at the lights, hot chocolate.
And I have to say, as America has gotten more wealthy, you know, obviously its citizens have as well. You don't really see there are still needy people, but most people do have money of some sort. And so as that happened with us too, I finally one year rented a limo and put all the kids, all nephews, nieces, all of that in the limo, and it was miserable.
In the limo?
Yes.
It's not the same.
You can't see the lights. It's like, it was like old school. You know, I'm saying it was not great. You get back to that roots, you know, forget all this stuff that the world says you need.
What about that big old piece of junk RV I drove everybody around it?
That was fun. Yeah, I mean, we did. Gabriel had this big old piece of junk, and we all got in it, and he drove us all over the place.
All over town.
See, it wasn't a piece of junk to me. It was cozy.
It was
that's the way I define it. Cozy.
It was one of those old brown ones, though, you know.
Yeah, it was old, like what, 80s model? Something.
It was actually a 90s.
90s, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, 97.
Yeah.
It was a Challenger.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was. It was cool, though. You know, it has a little table. And
it had everything.
Dude, it was so cool. It was so fun. Everybody's hanging on and just staring as the...
One year. Good times.
1 year.
I remember going through Wolfland and they have those white lights that hang over the street.
Yeah.
And we were pulling up on it, and I told everybody, I'm like, can we make this? Can we go for it? And everybody's like, some people are screaming, yes, go for it, and some not, because I thought that it was too tall. It might hit the lights and tear them down. And enough people voted to try to go under, and so we did. I was like, I'm about to ruin somebody's Christmas. But it didn't. It didn't hit the lights. I was like, ooh.
He went nice and slow.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just the magic of things that aren't perfectly prepared.
Yes.
With just impromptu, risky stuff.
You know, I like and I think that's the imagery that most of us have, Gabe, that you just described of Christmas and that come from that era. And that was really before the war on Christmas began. And the, happy holidays, the focus on happy holidays, and then the need from people on our side of the fence to rail against anybody that said happy holidays. And so I have this book that I read last year. I wish I would have read it this year. In fact, I may still just burn through it real quick. It's not the longest book, but it's called God Rest Ye Merry. And my pastor recommended it. And he just we were just getting to be friends, and he said, hey, we were talking about Christmas, and he was like, hey, I think you'd enjoy this book. Well, this book, God Rest Ye Merry, is really, I thought it was going to be the whole, keep the focus on Christ, and that, which you should know as a Christian. I mean, and I say you should know that. I don't know. I mean, it's easy to get lost in materialism and the chaos and being angry at family members and having all these different distractions going on, Jenny, that is basically what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but that's what I thought this book was going to be about. No, it actually ended up being a fabulous book. I really highly recommend it, but it ended up being about the importance of saying Merry Christmas and why, having an understanding of why you're saying Merry Christmas and then how you present yourself. So it goes into this whole history of Christmas and the Christmas tree and Santa Claus, and has all these great stories in a very interesting book. Santa Claus actually punched a dude once at the council at Nicaea, and it's very, very interesting book, but, or St. Nicholas, I guess, but yes, he was known then, but all that said, the whole idea was that your approach to the lost and to people that do say happy holidays, that are at war. And it's hard. It's crazy. I mean, it really is kind of hard, man. When you say Merry Christmas, like we were talking about earlier, we were talking about coffee shops, and I think that was before we dove into this, but
yes,
kind of everything, the atmosphere surrounding coffee shops, and it's very liberal, and people with blue hair and bullhorns in their noses, and a bunch of crazy stuff going on. Maybe they don't bathe, or just all these different things, and it just it's this rebellious spirit, this rebellious spirit. And so I used to just really, we were talking about younger generation earlier and all that. And I used to just kind of me against you attitude, give me my coffee, give me my pizza, mm-hmm. And now I'm gaining this compassion, especially during the Christmas season. It's hard, guys. I mean, going up to these young people, it's mainly young people. I went to Barnes and Noble last night. It's very young liberal people running the store. Barnes and Noble being a bookstore, if you don't know that already. Coffee shops, different things like that. Went to a local coffee shop here in town, and this young man, and I've made it a point every time to say Merry Christmas. God, it's kind of hard. And I mean, for me, because I'm almost prepared I have to kind of prepare my heart for the non-response back. But what I'm making it about them. My goal is to make it about them, to love on them, to smile at them, to ask about them, to joke with them, to just show them the love of Jesus and present to give them a different presentation of Christianity than what they've maybe experienced to date, right? The anger, the annoyance, the looks, all that kind of stuff, the not looking at them in the eye, different things like that. And so, and I'm just telling you so far now, and not all of them have said Merry Christmas back. They haven't, but a shocking percentage, high percentage of them have said, thank you, Merry Christmas back. And then even the ones that don't have found some other way to still reciprocate. Right. And to show the appreciation for the kindness and the laughs and the jokes. And so I heard a piece of advice the other day. And so this is a Bill Clinton advice, which I'm not a fan of that guy, but it's something, this one guy that's friends with him, and it's a very, very high up businessman, billionaire here. I was listening to an interview with this guy, and he had dinner with Bill Clinton the other night. And he said, he asked him, if you were going to give me one piece of advice, what would it be? And Bill said, Bill is a very charismatic, if he goes, like he's a nice person, by the standards of being nice. He's got a lot of issues, but I think he thinks he's a nice person and has a human desire to kind of be that way while having whatever else desires. And so he goes around and talks to every person in the room and talks to, no matter your stature, the server or the whatever, and will want to know about him. Right. And so everybody that talks about him says that that's the way he does things. And so he has this point being, he has this kind of charismatic personality. And so he had a cool thing that I did, even people that I don't really respect, I can take something that I think, that's good. And so he told this guy, whoever you meet, whenever you first come into contact with them, you treat the person as if you're running for president of the United States. Tomorrow's the election, and your election depends on their vote. And I thought, that's kind of I do like that. Mm-hmm. Shake their hand, look them in the eye, smile, care about what they have to say. Listen, and it's all biblical. It's all biblical, but just having that kind of that imagery in your head when you come into contact with somebody, and especially somebody that you might naturally dislike. What's the Bible say? James says, be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger, for the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Right. And so, the opportunities present themselves, and this young generation is lost. I mean, this opportunity to say Merry Christmas to you because you're sharing what Christmas is all about in that moment.
About Christ.
Yeah. About sacrificing your natural feelings and your natural distaste for, that our flesh says, oh God, come on, man. Naturally, I don't know about y'all, but mine does. It's kind of, why do you have that ring in your nose like that? Or whatever.
I'm glad we're talking about young people again, because I remember that too, that though I did feel like I knew everything and I felt kind of rebellious towards adults, I can think of like some reasons why that happened. A lot of that, we went to Will Rogers for elementary and Horseman for middle school. And I can think of only one teacher that made an impact on me, noticed I had any talent at all or anything special. The rest of them, I felt trampled upon by the teachers. I did not feel like they did. Either they didn't see me or they made me feel stupid or look stupid in front of the class. And so that was where I ended up, as a teenager. I felt that way. I was devalued. And so remembering that, it helps me with these teenagers. There are times I do not really want, it's been like 3 years now of, going through Hades, and I'm not in the mood by the time I get anywhere to give a smile or anything. But whereas adults, I'm not real worried about, and I know it's wrong, we should do it for everyone, but teenagers, young people, not just teenagers, young people, I do remember what it felt like to have someone look at me in the eye and say something kind and even acknowledge that I existed as a teenager.
So their reaction to me, Jen, it's like they're thirsting for it.
They want it. They need it.
I'm joking with them and laughing and patting them on the shoulder, and they like lap it up.
Yes.
Their eyes get big. They start thinking of more things to say. This one girl that when I was first walking up to Starbucks last night, you know, just not a very kempt person, and I thought, and it was towards later, so she was trying to get things done. I thought, I don't know how well this is going to go. And she just brightened right up. I still took the same approach I did, you know, and she started brightening up. And it was like she kept thinking of things to say, like was trying to think of things to talk about, and was just eating up that somebody my age, 50, was loving on her, and like she thirsted for that. And then she's one of the ones that didn't say Merry Christmas back. But then I was walking off. I was already almost out of the shop, and she hollered out, "Be careful in that crazy traffic out there." You know, like wanted to let me know, even though she didn't say Merry Christmas back, that she really appreciated the kindness.
Our youth needs to be loved on. They do need to be loved on more than we're doing that. And you may have like a kid like Gabriel's son who thinks my parents don't, and it's not true. My parents don't understand me and don't. Oh, yeah. And then they come out here and they see you, and they may need that. You know,
I think what helped me grow up the most as a person, an individual, as a man, going back to your feeling devalued, Jenny, is I didn't feel like I was ever making any traction when I lived in Amarillo, because I just knew a lot of people and everybody knew me as this kid, and I was just a kid. And when we moved to Missouri, nobody knew who we were, and they treated me like an adult and as a human. And I didn't feel devalued because they were interested in what I have to say. They didn't know me as a young punk kid. They didn't know my upbringing. They didn't know my parents, anything. And I felt like I got a fair shake for the first time in my life. And I grew up exponentially. And then when I came back to Amarillo, you know, I felt like I had more confidence and things like that. But you do feel devalued because you're surrounded by all these people that know you, and they know your story, and they know your history. And I know that happens because I run into people who meet my son for the very first time who don't know me, and then they're like, "Your son is David?" And they tell me this extravagant story about their interaction with him, and I'm like, but I still see these things that I struggle with in his life. That's what's it's like a blinder, and nobody else sees him through those blinders.
Yes.
It is encouraging to hear those. Those stories when you kind of a reminder and eases the heart. And by the way, speaks to upbringing. Yeah. You know, like, hey, in those seasons of thinking where you have the thoughts of, oh my gosh, did I make this mistake? Did I make that mistake? You know, my son's off the beaten path. Like, wait a minute. The righteous fruit is at work. The greatest area he struggles in, from my perspective, really is his choice. It's like he's making a decision to choose a path to go down that I didn't get to make that choice for him. And he gets to face the consequences, whatever they may be. And there's nothing I could do about it but just love him and share the truth and be a truth teller. And yeah, that's it. I love it. Sister, you said you had... I do have a final thought before, because I kind of have an idea of where I'm going to be.
Okay, yeah, y'all do your final thoughts.
Okay.
Can I butt in to the Moses family for 1 second? I just had this visual of, we've talked about a few weeks ago how you can be at odds with your spouse, and you on the way to church, and you get into church and you get in the presence of God, and there's just this theme of worship, and all of a sudden your heart begins to soften, and reconciliation happens without saying a word to one another. I had this visual of the tension that y'all share about and the state of the Moses family, and we talked about y'all's mom and the piano, and I'm like, man, can you imagine if you could get everybody around the piano? No matter if your mom's hands work great, whatever the challenge is, but if she just played the piano, it doesn't have to be great, and she could sing and everybody sang along, there's just this unification that comes, and a resolution and a heart that just bonds together, where everybody is enjoying the same moment together and you're really singing the truth about how awesome Jesus is. And then you get to record that. And I think it changes the whole dynamic of your Christmas day with each other.
I'm already picturing how we can make that happen.
Because that's the focal point. I just think it would be special, special, special.
I love it.
Okay.
You going to come sing with us?
No, I'll be doing my own thing. I'll be listening to my mom. You listen to your mom. I'll listen to you do your mom. I'll do my mom. That's it. That's all I got.
All right, Gabriel.
Final thought?
My final thought is Christmas reminds me of the sacrament. Like every Sunday we take communion at church. And Jesus said, "This do in remembrance of me." And it's some of the most powerful words I've ever heard in my life. This do in remembrance of me. And it kind of sums up everything each Sunday. And I always spend I spend extra time with the Lord in that moment when we take the bread and the grape juice. But Christmas is where he was born. You know, what we say is where he was born. And I choose to just believe that he was born on that day. And that it was the gift. It was the gift given, the only gift that ever really mattered. And just that it should be shared no matter what. I feel like I've had some pretty rough not Christmas moments, Jenny, but just seasons where I was like, I feel overwhelmed. But I can never get around that the greatest gift ever given was delivered on Christmas Day. And it's something that we can give to somebody else.
It's good. Love it. I would say my final thought is just in the words of Carmen, the old singer Carmen, be the light of Jesus to the world this Christmas season. You know, we're so busy speaking truth, and that is absolutely important, but just don't forget the love part. Mm-hmm. Don't forget the love part. And love is patient and kind. It's long suffering. You know, those are such important. Gentle. Jesus said these things you ought to have done without neglecting the other. Don't neglect the other. Don't neglect the love. The Bible says, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. And then it follows that up with let everything that you do be done in love. And so in a world so dark, be the light of Jesus to the world.
I'll piggyback on that a little. If you think about the Christmas lights on all the houses, when you say Christians be the light to the world, I kind of pictured like little firefly Christians everywhere they go. It's such a dark season. You know, it gets dark at 6, but it's not really dark because Christians are carrying the light of Jesus. Mm-hmm. If we did carry it. You know, if we did actually carry the light and be salt like the Lord tells us to do, instead of the grumpy, you know, back people that we normally are, then, you know, that picture of all these lights going around like fireflies materializes in your mind. Mm-hmm. All right. Y'all know what I want to do.
You want to sing something.
Pull it up.
Which song
I'll
is it?
start it out. Pull up the text I sent you. Okay, I'll start it out and y'all join with me.
I may or may not.
Do it.
Do it.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents on the tree.
Lots of them.
Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas,
everybody. Go ye into all the world
And preach the gospel.
Amen.
Amen.
Wah, wah, wah.
Oh. Did you know it was that one?
Yeah.